Chugum always plays random on the first game though, and I never understood why.
Is that actually a thing? I've yet to see Chugum's playstyle in Gravy Cancel, but I guess you're right. He goes random and he picks Koji against
Yeah.
physeK Sentinel.
So Chugum literally always plays random the first game, and he keeps playing random until he loses one game, and then he switches to Gnash. I don't know why, but he just does it. So
Wow.
it's interesting to see because we see some really interesting characters. We see him play Barraza and stuff. It's just super interesting.
A shame that we were able to get the Olgrim, but here he is with the Koji. He has the sword, goes to that Signer, but physeK's going in with his Sentinels. A character or a legend that I'm actually not very used to seeing that much myself. Tosses the Katars into his face. Chugum punishes him with the down air. Tossing weapons aside, I guess he's looking for the hammer, but I guess he's fine playing with the Katars as well. Chugum being quite good at being patient with the sword, hitting with the down air over and over again. physeK's trying to get in with something with the Katars. He uses that signature, but doesn't quite connect. I believe that was Sentinel's downside, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Goes in with the hammer. Goes to that side air. Chugum's ready to punish with a neutral light, but physeK just said stop. Doesn't get the stop, but gets the scoop follow up, and both players find themselves into the orange.
So, very even game so far. Chugum is playing super safe and careful right now, just sort of trying to get a... I can tell he hasn't really played physeK before, I don't feel like. Or at least not a lot, and he's trying to get a read on what physeK's game plan is right now. And he's slowly... You can see he's slowly getting a little bit more aggressive as he feels more confident in his reads.
physeK just throwing out a neutral signature, waiting for Chugum to be able to get back to the stage. Both players are not very string heavy against each other, it seems. Chugum picking up the bow, goes for that side signature. A Gravy Cancel side sig doesn't quite work out, and physeK's able to punch with the Sair. Koji's bow sigs are very cool because even though they reach very far, the hitbox is very small. So if you put those out and you don't connect, you leave yourself very vulnerable to get punished. And that's exactly what physeK did.
Chugum has to get this kill pretty soon here. It's actually a pretty good opportunity to go for something.
physeK lands with a neutral air, goes for another neutral air, and Chugum's able to punish with a side light. Holding onto the bow, goes for that charge down, saying this gets a guitar in the face. physeK holding on to those weapons, goes for that down air. Both players playing rather slowly. Chugum, however, finds that side light into the side air, sends him deeper into the red, but he's not going for any D-light combo. He's not going for any kill combos. Gets that down air, goes for a neutral air follow-up, doesn't quite work out. Another down air sends physeK flying into the air, but still can't close out the stock, and physeK continues to deny weapons and picks up more guitars.
So this has been a very long stock, but Chugum actually hasn't taken much damage. He's doing a really good job of avoiding physeK's moves and just getting the hits that are safe, but he needs to get the kill, and he's getting a lot of down airs, but he's not really getting the stuff that'll kill.
Yeah, picks up the bomb, just tosses it aside, doesn't even want to go for a trade. Holds onto the swords, looking for a way in against physeK's Sentinel. There's the side air, but Sentinel's defense keeping him alive for quite some time. Goes for the dodge, barely makes it to the stage, uses the recovery to maneuver around the bomb. And Chugum continues to not being able to end the stock, finds himself in orange. Very slow match, but there's the D-Light side air, finally ending it, evening it up 2-2.
Yeah. So Chugum, I think, is actually... I think I understand now. He wants to get the read on physeK's character, and he doesn't want to let physeK get the read on his.
Is that his, oh, so that's the reasoning for him playing random in the first match.
He plays random so that they can't read him for the second game, so he has the advantage.
And that's why he's not going for any interesting string. A very interesting theory behind Chugum's playstyle. That's actually quite cool.
Well, the thing is, he's actually just insane. He's definitely diamond level with every single character in the game.
Ooh, the stomp and the side sig, however. Able to end that out pretty quickly, so now physeK's got a solid stock lead. But yeah, I believe that. I need to see more from Chugum, however, to be able to testify for that. But I can definitely see the strategy behind picking random first, playing against the character's main, and then figuring out what you want to play against that character to be able to take the best of three solidly. But there's physeK with that neutral light into recovery, holds on to the hammers now after using the guitars, tosses it into his face against the unarmed combo, and Chugum holding onto the bow, tosses it aside and picks up a sword.
Chugum is more than capable of getting this win with Koji. He's a very powerful player with a sword. Not as good with bow. You can see he sticks with the sword pretty much the whole time. But it's not going to take much for him to turn this game around. Well, Maybe it will take something, but he is in red now.
Chugum holding onto the bow. Wow! An excellent side safe read from Chugum there, just being waiting for physeK to be able to come back up to the stage, and he evens it up 1-1. Even though he's in the orange, he has the possibility of being able to take this from physeK if he plays correctly. Holds on to the bow. physeK tosses the bomb aside. Still can't find a weapon. Things that are spawning that aren't weapons. Chugum tries to read that weapon grab with a neutral air. Doesn't quite work out. physeK goes for a scoop. Goes for a side air, but Chugum tosses his weapon to his face and gets the unarmed combat. More unarmed combos with these neutralites, and tosses the bow once more for offense into physeK's face. And physeK stops moving. A lag, possibly? No.
No, he was trying to bait something out. He does that.
Oh, is that actually a maneuver?
That
That's a little interesting. And there's that down state to read Chugum for dodging inwards. And Chugum finds himself into the deep red against physeK Sentinel.
Yeah, this doesn't feel nearly as far away from Chugum as it should, because physeK just hasn't been finding the kills or any of the killing blows. He always has to get Chugum really deep to get the kill.
Yeah, and Chugum's actually kind of playing in the same way. He's not really going for reads or strings. He's just kind of going for, you know, a move that hits there. And then surprisingly, the sider doesn't kill Chugum's Koji. Another one definitely will. He makes it back to the stage. physeK goes for a rather risky ground pound. Goes for it once again, and Chugum goes below the map without enough jumps and dies.
Player 2 wins.
Yeah, he expected the weapon throw down and tried to play around it, but then because physeK didn't throw, he had to play around it again, so he couldn't go to the ledge, and absolute mess. He was in the right thought process, but didn't quite have the jumps to make it out.
And he ends up giving not giving, physeK ends up earning game 1. That's best of 3 versus VexX Chugum. But yes, there's the Gnash switch that you told me about. You apparently are a lot more familiar with Chugum's playstyle than I am. Going from that random to Gnash switch, and physeK explains that
he's really good at Gnash. Like, I have to give a hard advantage to Chugum right now, because everything about Chugum's playstyle, at least in my mind, it seems so good against what physeK tries to do, and his playstyle's built around Gnash. Like, you can see, like, even when he was playing Koji, he was playing that spacing passive game, which Koji is not really known for at all.
Yeah.
When you put that on Gnash, though, it gets really scary, because that's what Gnash is so good at.
Will definitely be something that I'm looking forward to seeing. Ooh, and on Thunderguard Stadium as well. Here we go into game 2 of this winner's chorus match between Chugum and physeK. Chugum gets the first weapon spawning in his favor, and physeK's able to find one right afterwards. No unarmed combat happening whatsoever, and Chugum holds onto the spear. He gets control of the ground. There's the sideline and the side air, and a neutral air follow-up as well. Already throwing out the side signature and sending physeK on the side of the map. These side sticks are just coming out of nowhere, and he's putting the pressure on the physeK immediately.
Wild. Yeah, those aren't very advisable signatures to be throwing out.
That D-Light
didn't get punished.
But still, that D-Light side air neutral air follow-up from Chugum. Every time Chugum finds a down light, he gets an insane amount of damage on physeK Sentinel, regardless of the defensive stat. Ooh, goes in for a dodge, but physeK's able to read that with a nice side air, and he's able to slow the pace of this game up quite a bit to be able to do a decent amount of damage back to Chugum's Gnash. There's another sidelight after sidelight. physeK just taking control of the ground, not going for any unsafe aerials. Tosses his guitars aside, and he picks up the hammer once again.
Yeah, physeK is finding a lot of these max range hammer hits that are really allowing him to get the damage deficit back in his favor. Something that I hadn't seen him utilizing in the past games, but he's doing really good at this stock anyways.
Ooh, Chugum uses that down stick to be able to travel across the map, bringing physeK to force to recover low, and physeK's still on his toes, still not having control of the map. Goes for that scoop, actually ends up working out, but Chugum hits it with a side air, and the weapon toss to be able to punish him. Oh, he goes for a weapon toss himself, but gets punished by the recovery. Chugum makes it back
too.
Both players are doing an insane amount of interactions in that shenanigans zone, but there's the recovery. A rather anticlimactic way to end the first stock, but both players still have quite a few stocks on them. Can physeK end this quickly before Chugum is able to rack up a lot of damage with the spear? That's the question. There's the bomb gets interrupted by the hammer, and Chugum holds on to the spear. physeK goes for that weapon, but gets punished by a neutral light. Chugum's doing a great job being able to take the most out of this stock.
Chugum has a pretty good read on how physeK wants to play now, and he feels very confident going for these dodge and neutral lights and such. Oh, but
that was
physeK
amazing.
The read too.
There was that physeK Oh god, that's the first time I've ever seen somebody use that properly, where he just stands still, waits for Chugum to approach, throws out a signature, and ends the stock, making it even 2-2 almost immediately. Tosses the hammer down,
Wow.
Chugum doesn't get hit by it, and holds onto the spear. physeK holding onto this hammer, tosses it aside, doesn't want the guitars whatsoever against Chugum's Gnash. Just holding onto the hammer as much as he can. Chugum goes for a downlight and actually doesn't connect with it, but physeK's not ready to punish it. Goes in, tosses the hammer down and try to get some sort of follow-up. Both players really don't want to go for any moves that are going to leave them open to get punished, because I believe he recognizes that Chugum's very good at punishing with his spear.
A downlight. You should have downlighted there. Had the free. Like, okay, there it is. So Chugum, he knows what he wants to do. He wants to get in for those downlights when physeK goes for the Sair, but he keeps missing them. And he finally hit one. But physeK's starting to get wise to it as well, so I don't think it's gonna work for much longer. He ended up switching for the hammer.
physeK has the guitars, Chugum just throwing out a down signature, but physeK's so incredibly patient, he's absolutely willing to stand in the same spot constantly until somebody approaches. Still, that's not seemingly winning him the neutral game here. He finds himself with more damage on his legend than on his opponent's. Chugum holding on to the spear, goes in with that neutral air, tosses the hammer down, the physeK barely not hitting physeK and sending him flying off the side of the map. He holds onto the hammer, goes in for the scoop, actually gets it, tosses the hammer aside. It's just juggling hammers currently. Throws one off the side of the map, and there, the GC physeK gets punished by Chugum's own physeK, and he takes the lead once again in this best of 3. Chugum holds onto the
Both players
mine.
are just so willing to play the patient passive game, and you can see that this is it's very much so coming down to who's more patient in a lot of these situations.
Yeah, a battle
the
of
person who
wits.
approaches ends up getting
A
punished.
battle of wits and battle of patience rather than mechanics, for sure. However, Chugum uses that physeK to straight up punishing physeK for picking up a weapon and a neutral light to be able to punish it for jumping up. Another physeK! That's destructive! physeK's so low, I don't think he's got his jumps. No, he doesn't. That's the match. Chugum takes a 2-stock over physeK after losing the first match with this random pick, and I believe what you're saying actually is kind of coming to fruition, where Chugum picks random for the first time to get rid of his opponent, and then picks up that Gnash and is able to figure out exactly how he wants to play. That's an excellent 2-stock, 2 solid physeKs in a row, getting rid of physeK's jumps for being very, oddly enough, impatient with his recoveries. And we're going into game 3 in this winner's quarters match.
Chugum is just, it's so impressive to watch him play because he gets into the mind of his opponent. He just completely understands. He doesn't play a fancy game. Like, we don't see him doing the stuff that Stevenator or Pugsy do, where they just go absolute ape crap on someone. He just plays smart. He places his moves well, and he just does the basic moves, and he's a top-tier player because of it. It's incredible to watch.
Oh, 2 neutral lights, 3 neutral lights in a row. I was surprised if you want to go for a 4th neutral light, just punishing every option that physeK uses the line. And there's another. And the thing is, you can't keep getting hit by these spear neutral lights. It looks like a weak move.
already
There's
at
not a lot of knockback, but yeah, he's Sentinel, and he's already in orange. Just the 5th neutral light. physeK is just struggling to do anything against the power of Chugum's A button. Tosses the hammer into his face. Is able to get some unarmed combat, but Chugum, gosh, has taken quite a sizable lead from just being able to cover the ground and not jumping whatsoever. Another neutral light to be able to send him almost into the red. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for another one. No, there's the side light to be able to punish his landing, mixing it up slightly by holding a direction. And physeK keeps Chugum in the air and is finally able to get some neutral airs, and all of that neutral lighting didn't even matter after a few hammer aerial moves from physeK.
Yeah, a hammer neutral air does 30 friggin' damage, so you just hit 2 of those and you've already hit the equivalent of 4 neutral.
Chugum able to dodge over that mine, tosses the hammer to his face, another mine toss, goes for that signature but doesn't quite connect. That was very risky from Chugum because physeK could have possibly punished him for that stock. Lands with a neutral air, and the bomb explodes on the platform. Both players find themselves in the red, so despite that opening from Chugum, a side air from physeK ends up taking his stock, and he actually takes the lead in the 3rd game of this best of 3.
You know, the great thing about Gnash's signatures, specifically his side sig and his down sig on hammer, is they're just really safe and hard to... Nice bomb throw by Chugum.
Wow, a surprising bomb connection from Chugum there, being able to even up really quickly 2-2, and a neutral air to catch physeK for going for that weapon upon spawn. Excellent option cover from Chu. There's the downlight, doesn't get the side air follow-up. physeK goes for a neutral air combo of his own. Both players just trying to use that AoE neutral aerial from their moves, either the spear or the guitars, to be able to get as much easy damage, unpunishable damage as possible. physeK dodges low, doesn't get hit by that neutral air, goes for a side air himself, throwing out a few moves that I'm not accustomed to seeing used. There's a side sing and gets aptly punished by a light side air.
Chugum doing a really good job right now. He's getting the lead again after losing it. But
Ooh, but there's a sidelight to the side sing. Chugum was just not ready for that. An interesting string. Chugum goes right in for that neutral light again, going back to his roots at the beginning of this match. But physeK chase dodges into his side air, goes for that neutral light to be able to hit him, and another side air puts Chugum into the deep orange. That patience coming from physeK once again. Chugum just holding onto the spear, does that pivot neutral light, but physeK's able to get him with that scoop to send him flying into the air, which is where Chugum doesn't want to be.
wow.
A side light sends
physeK
him
is
flying.
really getting a good read on what Chugum's trying to do now. And he's not letting Chugum do the basic stuff anymore.
That bomb toss almost looked like it was going to connect, and then physeK ends up just jumping barely over it, gets the scoop, and I think that was like a tip or kill. Like, I really did not feel like that down air was going to be able to kill Chugum, but it definitely did. Chugum was for a very unsafe ground pound, uncharacteristic of this Gnash play, and gets punished by a neutral light. physeK goes for a bomb trade of his own, doesn't quite work out. Chugum finds the spear, goes for a ground pound into the center of the stage once again. Ground pound after ground pound. physeK holding onto the hammer. And
Playing a little tilted right now.
yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it seems like. physeK's just tossing things into Chugum's face over and over again. He's in the orange. Doesn't quite seem to be doing very much with his stock. And gets hit by a side air from physeK.
Oh man.
Chugum seems to completely have lost momentum here. Just goes in for a weapon toss, gets hit by a side air. physeK absolutely willing to take this. Goes for the ground pound. Chugum maneuvers around it, and a recovery into a weapon toss will most likely end it. That is Chugum being knocked into the loser's bracket by physeK with a solid 2 stock. Interesting to see the momentum change.